LinkedIn presents.
The future of AI isn't just up to tech companies, it's up to all of us. We have agency at the level of individuals, organizations, and even societies. We can choose which applications of AI we consider ethically acceptable or unacceptable, how we integrate AI into companies and organizations, and how we regulate AI. But to be able to exercise this agency, we have to think ahead of time instead of perpetually reacting to AI developments.
Good morning. I'm your host, Michael Kovnat, and this is the Next Big Idea Daily. Quick masterclasses from the best new nonfiction in under 15 minutes. Make sure you're following the show to get new episodes and sign up for our free companion newsletter using the link in the episode notes. So we're hearing a ton about AI these days, and with all the hype, it can be hard to get a clear picture of what it is this technology can actually do. Maybe one clarifying question is to ask what it can't do. Princeton computer scientists Arvind Narayanan and Sayesh Kapoor take that approach in the new book, AI Snake Oil: What Artificial Intelligence Can Do, What It Can't, and How to Tell the Difference. Arvind will share their big ideas right after this quick break.
Hello, my name is Arvind Narayanan. I'm a professor of computer science at Princeton University and a co-author of AI Snake Oil: What Artificial Intelligence Can Do, What It Can't, and How to Tell the Difference. AI is a topic that's surrounded by hype and misinformation. We wrote the book to cut through the confusion and give you an essential understanding of how AI works and why it often doesn't. Today, I want to share 5 key insights from the book. The first insight is that AI is not one single technology. It's an umbrella term. It refers to a collection of loosely related technologies. Imagine an alternate universe where people don't have words for different forms of transportation. They use the collective noun vehicle to refer to cars, buses, bikes, spacecraft, any other way of getting from place A to place B. Imagine how confusing this world would be. There are furious debates about whether or not vehicles are environmentally friendly, but no one realizes that one side of the debate is talking about bikes and the other side is talking about trucks. Now, if you replace the word vehicle with artificial intelligence, you'd have a pretty good description of the world we live in. ChatGPT, which is a form of generative AI, has almost nothing in common with AI that a bank might use, for instance, to calculate the credit risk for a loan applicant. This kind of AI is about trying to predict the future. Will this applicant pay back the loan or not? A third kind of AI is used by social media companies when they generate the feeds that we scroll through, and so on. Now, in some areas, AI has made remarkable and widely publicized progress, and that has allowed companies to exploit public confusion and just slap the AI label on whatever they're selling. And so, if we want to avoid that confusion about what AI can and can't do, we have to be clear about which kind of AI we're talking about. AI can't predict the future. Today, across the United States and in many other countries, risk prediction algorithms are used to help determine what happens to defendants when they are arrested. I'm talking about the question of who will be released and who will be jailed until their trial, which might be months or years away. And when these AI algorithms are used, that decision is based on a prediction of who will commit a crime if they're released, rather than a determination of guilt. But the future is unknown. We can't know who will commit a crime. And unsurprisingly, the research shows that these algorithms are not only biased, they don't work that well. They only work slightly better than the flip of a coin. This kind of predictive logic has proliferated in many different areas, in hiring and education and healthcare, and many other domains that are hugely consequential in our lives. We're deeply skeptical of the idea of making decisions about people by predicting their future. It's in this area that we think AI snake oil is heavily concentrated. By AI snake oil, we mean AI that doesn't work and probably will never work. We discuss many horror stories in the book. For example, a health insurance algorithm that predicted that a patient would require 16.6 days to recover after a surgery in a nursing home. What an oddly precise number. And when that time elapsed, the patient's coverage stopped, even though she couldn't even walk. AI is better when it's a tool. So this one is about generative AI. As we describe in the book, AI actually has an 80-year-old history, and companies and governments have long used various forms of AI. But generative AI is the first time that AI has been a consumer technology. And in that form, it's still new and immature. To be clear, in the long run, we're broadly positive about generative AI. But the rollout of this technology has been haphazard. Companies have unleashed these powerful but unreliable large language models and have let people figure out what to do with them. The problem with this approach is that it's proven a lot easier for sketchy actors to use generative AI than it has been for everyday people. For example, there are whole AI-generated books on Amazon. If someone is just trying to make a quick buck, they don't care if the AI output is any good or not. But if you want to use AI productively and responsibly, you have to worry about so-called hallucinations, and there is a much bigger learning curve. Unfortunately, things are changing. There is a lot more effort in the industry that's now going into integrating generative AI into the tools that we use every day. We do think generative AI can be useful to every knowledge worker, basically anyone who thinks for a living. And we think people should be curious about and experiment with new AI tools or AI features in their existing software. But that doesn't mean you should look at news about AI capabilities and panic. For example, ChatGPT can reportedly pass the bar exam and the medical licensing exam. Of course, that doesn't mean it has replaced lawyers or doctors. It's not like a lawyer's job is to answer bar exam questions all day. In fact, the impact of generative AI on professions like law and medicine has been quite small so far. We're only slowly seeing the integration of generative AI into existing legal technology and electronic health records and so forth. Here's an analogy. Generative AI is often compared to other general-purpose technologies like electricity. But electricity is useful because it powers specific appliances that do concrete things for us. So in the same way, you don't need to feel pressured to, stare at a chat box and figure out what to do with it. It's okay to wait for applications that actually cater to your needs in your everyday work and in your life. Now, there is an amusing definition of AI that says AI is whatever hasn't been done yet. What this means is that we generally use the term AI to refer to technology that is still fairly new, doesn't work that well, and probably has double-edged societal implications. Over time, as it starts working well, it kind of fades into the background. We take it for granted, and we stop calling it AI. In fact, technologies like spell check or autocomplete or robotic vacuum cleaners like the Roomba that we might take for granted today were all called AI at one point and were at the cutting edge of what was possible. We do think that with many generative AI applications, things will follow this path gradually. To imagine what this might look like a couple of decades from now, a useful analogy is the internet. A few decades ago, when the internet was new, we would log on to the internet to do specific things and we would then log off. But today, the internet has become a kind of pervasive background medium for the vast amount of knowledge work that we do. And we predict that a similar evolution is likely with generative AI as it starts to become a more useful tool and better integrated with all of the existing workflows that we have in various different professions. You should evaluate AI tools for yourself. So this is an important way in which AI is actually different from most other software. How well it works for you can vary greatly from person to person or organization to organization. An AI vendor might claim that their tool is 97% accurate, for instance. But a number like that without context means really nothing. because that accuracy can be highly sensitive to the specific data that it was evaluated on or the specific kinds of queries that you want to put into it. The good news is that at least when it comes to generative AI-based tools, it's fairly straightforward to start using these tools for yourself and evaluating how good they are for your specific use cases and what some of the risks and downsides might be. When it comes to predictive AI tools, organizations should be doing this, should be making it easy to evaluate how well these tools are working. A good example from the medical domain is sepsis prediction. So sepsis is a disease that can be deadly, so when a hospitalized patient is at risk of developing sepsis, it's very useful to know that ahead of time so that doctors can take preventive measures. Now, Epic, which is a healthcare technology company, built a sepsis prediction tool, and they claimed that it was very accurate. It was something like 83% was the accuracy that they claimed. And based on this, it was deployed to hundreds of different hospitals. What each of these hospitals should have done is to evaluate that tool on their specific patient populations to see if they did get the claimed accuracy or not. But, most of these hospitals are under a lot of pressure, might not have the expertise, and so they skipped that important step. And years later, when there was an evaluation that was done by a particular hospital system, they found that the accuracy that they were getting was in fact much less than what the developer had claimed. So part of the responsibility here lies with the developer. But part of the responsibility for this failure actually lies with the hospitals for taking that developer's claims at face value and not evaluating it on their own data, for not doing a pilot before they put it into deployment. We have agency over the future of AI. The future of AI isn't just up to tech companies, it's up to all of us. We have agency at the level of individuals, organizations, and even societies. We can choose which applications of AI we consider ethically acceptable or unacceptable, how we integrate AI into companies and organizations, and how we regulate AI. But to be able to exercise this agency, we have to think ahead of time instead of perpetually reacting to AI developments. For instance, consider children. We think that AI will play a huge role in the lives of children born today. And that role can be enormously positive and fulfilling, or negative and addicting, or anything in between. In a few years, we'll be having the same kinds of conversations about kids and AI that we're having today about kids and social media. In the book, we're very critical of the way in which we as a society have responded to kids being on social media. If we want to avoid those mistakes with AI, now is the time to act. Now, I have 2 young children myself, and when I'm spending time with them, we frequently use AI together as a tool for learning and entertainment. And it's also proved to be a good opportunity to help them understand the risks and limitations of AI early on in their lives. So that's one way in which I try to be proactive in exercising my own agency over the future of AI.
Thank you, Arvind. Okay, listeners, you can get a copy of AI Snake Oil wherever you get your books. If you could use some more life and career advice, go to nextbigideaclub.com to check out our hardback subscription club. We'll send you the best new nonfiction books as chosen by our curators Adam Grant, Malcolm Gladwell, Dan Pink, and Susan Kane. That's nextbigideaclub.com. And stay with the Next Big Idea Daily this week, because we'll be talking about everything from consciousness and meaning to the art and science of having good conversations. I'm Michael Kovnat. Hope to see you tomorrow.